The following is a 6-card random pull with Clear and Empty Mind, using the deck Tarot of the Abyss by Anne Turian.
Number 13, Death. She has walked the earth since the beginning of time. Her expression is pensive and solemn as she strolls up and down the annals of the earth. A tireless presence, unseen yet felt by all. She is Death, the bringer of change and transformation. She waits within the liminal state and hears the call of the transmutation. Her roots dig deep into the creation itself. Her core is the endless night sky where the stars collapse and are reborn in endless cycle that she calls home. She is the door that opens when all else closes. When the death card makes its presence known in your spread, it rarely indicates the literal death of a loved one. This major arcana card is powerful indeed, typically depicting life-altering changes. It represents a very important ending in your life, but also the beginning of a new period. It is metamorphic in its message. Through this process of change, you'll need to shed those things that are no longer necessary in order to make room for new possibilities. It is sometimes said that Death card does not signify an ending, but rather a transition. It bears much in common with the actual death, bringing fear of the unknown, the stripping down of the old, the preparation of the way for the new. Death comes to all. None of us is immune to it. Often it can come suddenly without warning. There is something we should remember when this card appears in your reading. It most certainly is not a card that takes its time. Death, or rather transformation, is an active process. There is nothing static about it. In these situations, it is wise not to get too attached to things that are no longer suited for you. Very often, they will be washed away in the process of change.
Number 5, the Wise One. The Wise One is traditionally known as the Hierophant. In this card, he represents the spiritual healer, the shaman. We witness the exchange between the healer and his people, a sacred moment when he is passing down his knowledge and wisdom. Tradition is important to him, something that has taken generations to acquire and master and cannot be achieved through the solitude or isolation. The fire is burning bright, and with its heat, its warmth, their souls lights the path of enlightenment. When this card appears, know that perhaps some spiritual guidance is coming your way. There are many forms through which this knowledge may come into your life, perhaps through a counselor or a spiritual mentor. However it may be, guidance is coming your way. The Wise One is a card of doctrine and of spiritual tradition, and at its core, tradition in general is passed down and continues living within the group setting. Perhaps you've been searching for a group of spiritual-minded people to connect with. If spiritual doctrine is not your cup of tea, then a good balance would come through incorporating some aspects of tradition to your spiritual practice. Things that could become ritual, that could free your soul. Number 18, the Moon. Near the edges of 2 cliffs, 2 figures stand, wrapped in rays of luminescent moonlight. The male stands upon the right cliff, while his female counterpart stands upon the left cliff. They represent the primordial, active and passive energies, spirit and matter, light and dark. There is only a small gap between them, making it easy for them to cross and unite. Yet one false step could be their undoing. The moon governs the tides. Its ever-changing phases exert a constantly shifting influence upon the waters of the earth, as well as upon our emotional lives. Each one of us is connected to the moon through occult energies that shift our emotional bodies. In contrast to the sun, which shines constantly and reliably, completely illuminating the world, the moon provides only intermittent and indirect light. The moon provides general impressions that cannot be relied upon to reveal the whole truth. There is something mystical to its presence. There is something mystical to its permanence, its still and silence. For this reason, it is important to proceed with caution. When the moon card appears in your reading, it signals a period of fluctuation and change. For most of us, the inability to clearly distinguish our surroundings instills a sense of fear and anxiety reminiscent of childhood fears of the dark. Moonlight dances lightly at nighttime. It hints but doesn't reveal all, and what we see by moonlight we can turn out to be quite different in daylight. Therefore, it is not at all difficult to misperceive objects or intentions. Beware then of false impressions throughout this period, as it's quite easy to lose your step and be deceived. It's also wise not to make any major decisions or changes during this time. 9 of Pentacles. A silver-haired woman of dignity and grace stands surrounded by life and plenty in her garden. She cradles a delicate finch in her hands, a Native American symbol of joy and happiness. On her head she wears a silver band of 9 pentacles. The peace and equanimity she radiates indicates that she is someone who has achieved her goals in life. The warm smile on her lips shows that she is not afraid of what tomorrow will bring. The 9 of Pentacles speaks of self-reliance, the goals achieved. Most often we gain this confidence and success with age. The woman in the card has earned the right to be exactly who she chooses to be. She may or may not be wealthy, but it doesn't matter either way. Hers is not so much a material wealth as a spiritual one. Her goals accomplished, she can now focus on more personal, spiritual pursuits. You too can be like her. Discover the simple joy in what you have achieved, and the fact that you don't have to worry at this time. Number 10, Wheel of Fortune. The Weaver holds the Wheel of Time, an endless spiral that can influence the events of life itself. She bears no ill will, nor does she control where or when it stops. She is simply the guardian of the wheel. She has existed here since the beginning of time itself, and her name is Infinity. She neither rests nor sleeps. She is a constant witness to the world, viewing its highs and lows with impassivity and temperance. Fate can be very fickle, friend. One moment whisking you to the heights of bliss and fulfillment, the next dropping you to the depths of loss and despair. The spiral of time has its own motivations, its all-seeing eye ever open and awake. When the Wheel of Fortune appears in your spread, know that times are changing. If your life has been stagnant, now the big changes are afoot. If you had to run a bad luck lately, your life will soon change for the better. Conversely, if things have been spectacular, brace yourself for unexpected changes or obstacles. This is not a subtle card. The wheel will turn things upside down, and its impact could potentially have lifelong repercussions. It often alters the course of your life to a greater extent than anticipated. Nor can these changes be helped or avoided. When it comes to karmic influences, there is very little that we can do to control the events that befall us. However, we always retain control over our reactions to and perceptions of these life changes. Often our greatest strength is in our adaptability to the changes that inevitably occur in life. Seek to establish a healthy perspective of the changes that befall you, and much of the battle is won. 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands shows the same merchant from the 2 of Wands standing on a dock, his gaze fixed on a sailing ship. If you examine the card carefully, you will realize that it is possible to regard the ship from 2 distant vantage points. From one point of view, it appears to be arriving. On the other hand, it can also be perceived as setting sail. We aren't sure if the ship is coming or going, but what is very clear is that the merchant is deeply concentrating on its activity. His back is turning away from the viewer and towards the ship, towards his goal. In the Ace of Wands, inspiration and creativity won the day. Then in the 2 of Wands, planning and preparation prevailed. Here, in the 3 of Wands, it is time to put those carefully laid plans into action. The ship in the card could even indicate the need for travel in connection with your plan. Regardless, one thing is clear: the time has come to actively implement your plan. Rely on your energy, enthusiasm, and carefully planning to launch your ideas in the here and now.